Hello, everyone. We are live on a Monday evening to discuss round 4 of the A-League Men's 2025-26 season. A lot to discuss. We had two intense derby matches. A New Zealand derby that saw Auckland FC claim victory over Wellington Phoenix with just 9 players on the field in the end. And we had the Melbourne derby on that same Saturday. And not only was it a Melbourne derby, but it was extra special. It was the A-League Men's grand final rematch, and it was victory for Melbourne City in the end, over victory. So a lot to talk about. Some other big results all across the weekend. I mean, Mariners with another 3 points away from home. Adelaide United with a win and a clean sheet over Wanderers. Maybe some concern around Western Sydney Wanderers in the early rounds, still without a win. Sydney FC with a 2-0 win over Macarthur, and Brisbane Roar, impressive 3-0 win over Newcastle Jets. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you had a great weekend, and would love to get your thoughts. Jump in the live chat here. What did you make of your team's performance from the weekend? What did you make of these results overall? What games are sort of catching your eye from this past weekend? We'll also take a look at the ladder and sort of see how things are standing. This is going to be a bit of, a check-in to see how we're feeling after 4 rounds. And as we know, the international break is coming up. No A-League men's action this coming weekend. So this is sort of this first little block. These first 4 rounds are done and dusted. We've sort of had a real taste of how all the teams are playing, and we've got a decent idea of how things are looking so far this season. Obviously, still very, very early stages in the season, but it is very interesting indeed. So great to see everyone in the live chat. G'day, Cody. Lightning's here as well. We are back, Frenzied Rabbit. Leo Center 23, Sydney FC fan joining us. I'm sure you'll be happy with the Sky Blues and their win on Sunday. There, Leo Center. And what a derby, says Cody. Yeah, man. I mean, both derbies were good, but I assume you're referring to the New Zealand derby, Cody, because it truly was a stunning game. We'll be running through all the games, breaking them all down and discussing everything. A lot to talk about, that's for sure. Iggy's here as well. G'day, Iggy. Welcome to the live chat, mate. Callum's here as well, joining us live. Says, thought the Raw were fantastic. I forgot what it was like to feel optimistic. Yeah, man. I mean, they've been one of the success stories of the season so far. They've been pretty good so far. Pretty good. Lightning as well with a comment on that New Zealand derby. Says that first red card for Auckland and then the second had nothing in them. We'll definitely talk about those red cards for sure. There were some controversial decisions all over the weekend, especially in the Melbourne derby, a big non-penalty call in the Melbourne derby as well, which we'll definitely touch on as well. Alrighty. So, g'day, Dord in the live chat as well. Great to see everyone joining us here on a Monday evening. Make sure to hit the like button as well, support the channel. But let's talk about the Friday games. First of all, Adelaide United 2, Western Sydney Wanderers 0. This was a game that I was expecting to maybe be a little bit more evenly contested, at least for the final results. But for the Reds, great result for them after 2 consecutive losses. But for Western Sydney Wanderers, there's a bit of concern building after 4 games. As let's have a glance at the ladder. They sit Western Sydney Wanderers currently sit second bottom, just 1 point ahead of Perth Glory, who are just an absolute mess at the moment. Western Sydney Wanderers, 4 games into this season, 2 draws, 2 losses. I want to hear from you guys. What is your assessment on Western Sydney Wanderers so far this season? Because they're a team who I and a lot of other people I know had high expectations of Western Sydney Wanderers heading into this campaign. They had built a really exciting team. Yes, they had lost the likes of Nicholas Milanovic, who won the Johnny Warren medal, and Zach Sapsford and Marcus Antonsen, a few key players leaving, but with Angus Thurgate coming in, Barbarousis, Qual joining the attack, it felt like they still had a pretty solid team there, and a lot of guys who were there from last season, and obviously West Sydney Wanderers with the head coach Alan Stajic leading the way. They finished 4th last season. And I thought maybe this season they could go even one better. I thought maybe they have even strengthened their squad overall. But they are without a win so far this season, and a 2-0 loss here away to Adelaide United. And the concerning thing as well for Western Sydney Wanderers, if you look at the goals for column here, if you look down at Western Sydney Wanderers, in 4 games, the Wanderers have scored just 2 goals in 4 games. It's really, really underwhelming. And I mean, the simple thing is they need big improvements if they're going to be competing for finals this season. They're completely underwhelming at this stage. Leah Center 23 in the live chat says Western Sydney Wanderers lacked confidence and cohesion. Yes. Yeah, they, especially in front of goal, they had some opportunities, Western Sydney Wanderers, but they just weren't taking them. I mean, to perfectly sum it up, there was a great chance in the first half of this game here where Božidar Krajev got in behind Adelaide's defence and was one-on-one with the goalkeeper Joshua Smits. And it should have been a comfortable finish either side of the goalkeeper, and his shot went straight at Smits. It was just it was really a poor miss. Surely you have to score from there. So it was one of those ones where it maybe is sort of summing up Western Sydney Wanderers right now, and at least in attack, the fact that they are just simply not finding the goals. Cody says Stajic out. I mean, I feel like it's. I've been seeing that online on social media, some like calls for maybe Wanderers to move on from Alan Stajic. I still think it's very early. Again, my sort of the way I look at the coaching situation. Obviously, we've already seen a coach dismissed in David Zrulich just a couple of rounds into the season, but I think for pretty much all the teams, sort of, I think you're looking at New Year's Eve, like the end of this calendar year, the end of 2025, because that's a couple months into the season. If Wanderers aren't in the top 6 by the end of this year, then maybe I think the pressure should be applied on Alan Stajic. Callum says Western Sydney Wanderers are too old and not physical enough. I mean, well, I'll tell you what, another interesting thing, that reminds me, I mean, Alu Kowal, he in terms of like physicality, he was providing the physicality, and we know Alu Kowal's that kind of player who's really strong in the air, and he'll chase down defenders and applies pressure to defenders. And he came off like really early. It was him and Ugarkovic came off really early in that second half for Western Sydney Wanderers in that loss to Adelaide. So that was a concern, not a concerning, but just a bizarre, I think, decision there from Alan Stajic, in my opinion, at least. Frenzy Rabbit also comments here saying, weren't Western Sydney Wanderers around the top of your start of season ladder prediction? Yeah, I had them top. I had Western Sydney Wanderers. My prediction is that Western Sydney Wanderers were going to win the premiership this year, that they will finish first. Hey, they're still capable of doing that. A couple of years ago, Central Coast Mariners lost their first 4 games and went on to win not only the premiership, but the championship and the AFC Cup that year. So still plenty of time to turn it around. I think it's important not to get carried away at all. It's so early in the season and things can totally flip. And, to be fair, some teams, as we look at the ladder, some teams have maybe had some easy opponents to start the season, whereas some teams have had some difficult opponents. Like maybe we should take into consideration the fact that, Western Sydney Wanderers have had to play Melbourne City, the reigning champions, in round 1, and away to the reigning premiers, Auckland FC. So it's not necessarily a comfortable start for Western Sydney Wanderers, and just one home game so far for Wanderers. So they've got a couple of interesting games coming up, Western Sydney Wanderers. They got Mariners at home after the international break, and then they've got a Sydney derby. So very interesting indeed. Very, very interesting indeed. James is here. G'day, James. Says Western Sydney Wanderers have the worst conversion rate in the league, 3.2%. Is that right? Goodness me, that is low. Goodness me. Frenzied also says Western Sydney Wanderers definitely have the talent to turn their fortunes around. But as always, it's up to the players. Yep. Yeah, they definitely have the talent. They definitely have the quality. You look at their team, man, and it's capable. Like the squad that Wanderers have shouldn't be, second bottom on the ladder. With Barbarouses and his A-League experience, with Borrello, Kowal, a midfield of, Brillante, Ugarkovic, Shaklunas coming off the bench, Thurgate, Krajev. Like, it's a good squad, man. Pantanzopoulos and Bonatic at the back. It's a good squad, and that's why I thought that they will be towards the top of the ladder this year. And I think they are still, could well finish towards the top. It's still a very, very long season, but yeah, man, it's interesting. And I just wonder if Alan Stajic, for example, I mean, we're seeing Alan Stajic loves to sort of play this 4-4-2, or it's more of a 4-2-2-2, sort of playing with 2 number 10s and 2 more deeper lying midfielders. But I feel like someone like Steven Ugarkovic, for example, is just not being played in his most natural position. He's having to come wide quite a lot, where he's more of a central midfielder, Steven Ugarkovic. So maybe I feel like Wanderers maybe just missing one or two attacking players. The January transfer window could be a real big window coming up for the Wanderers. MTB is joining us in the live chat as well as Jacob. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. A-League X is here as well. A-League X making some great videos over on the channel there. A-League X, go check it out, everyone, if you're keen on more A-League content. Oh, boy. So, we are currently discussing the Wanderers Adelaide game. We're going through all the games one at a time. 2-0 win for the Reds. And Cody also says, lots to talk about West Sydney Wanderers, but Adelaide worked well together as a cohesive unit. Yes, let's focus on the Reds, the positives. They were good. And this was an important result just to bounce back after 2 consecutive losses for the Reds. And now they've won both their home games so far this season against Sydney FC, against West Sydney Wanderers. And they did look good. I thought Jovanovic was good, scored a good goal and set up the other one. Goodwin was good. I thought Kikianis was very impressive in defense as well. So, yeah, I sort of wrote Reds off a little bit this season. I don't know how you guys felt about Adelaide heading into this season, but I felt like maybe their squad was just lacking a little bit. But, yeah, man, they're doing okay. I think they might be all right this season. I think they might be all right. Yeah. Back on Wanderers, Leia23 in the live chat says the new signings aren't looking that good in my opinion, and Borrello has been missing many good chances. Yeah, I remember we did the live watch long for that Western Sydney derby a couple weeks ago, the MacArthur Wanderers game, and yeah, I remember Borrello missed some big opportunities in that game. Big opportunities. Leia23 also says that Jovanovic was pretty good. Great goal, indeed. Indeed. Dornier says Adelaide look great. Maybe the change of coach is justified. Yeah, well, look, and I don't mind them bringing in someone who was like already at the club in Ayrton Andrioli, and maybe that sort of helps the transition. Like it hasn't destabilized things too much. So, yeah, man. Lightning here says, great to see Craig Goodwin playing well in Australia. Yep, he hasn't been like amazing every single game since he's come back, but he's started and he's playing this central role, and he was good. He was very, very good against Wanderers. So yeah, he's just such a top consistent player, and will always put in a strong performance. Tay here, g'day Tay, who asks, "Do you think Sydney won't be top 6, or has that changed?" I mean, yeah, I mean it's early days. I don't want to. I'm sticking by my ladder prediction that I made before the season because I'm I've just got to stick by it. But I think Sydney FC, yeah, they've been really good. The new signings are settling in really, really quickly, which is a good sign for the Sky Blues. So yeah, I think that will be top 6. I'm not going to go ahead and say that they'll be top 2, but I think they'll be in the mix. Yeah, and it's a big question from MTB, who also asked, who do you think will win the A-League this year? Yeah, I mean, like at this rate, it is Auckland FC, and I know that's the easy answer, but they're showing no indication of slipping up this year. Auckland FC, their standards are just so high, and the quality they have, they've just got that quality, man. So I can't see Auckland slipping up. They made a really strong start to the season. We'll be talking about that New Zealand derby a little bit later in the live stream as well. Letter 23 also says Adelaide could get finals, but have already showed us that they are inconsistent. Yeah, I'm not going to go ahead and say that, yeah, Adelaide are a finals team, but they've been okay. 2 wins, 2 losses. So it's a 2-0 win for Adelaide United over Western Sydney Wanderers. Welcome to our A-League Men's Round 4 live reaction, talking about the round that was, discussing it all. We're going to go through the games one at a time. So next up, we will talk about Perth Glory 0, Central Coast Mariners 1. As a Mariners fan, very happy with this result. If you want to check out my full review on this game, it's over on the Coast Watch Football channel, the dedicated Mariners channel, if you want to check that out. And hey, this was I mean, it wasn't a pretty game, that's for sure. Perth Glory made a great start in this game. And as a Mariners fan, I was a little bit worried for the opening half an hour or so. I thought Perth Glory were almost in total control of this game. And it looked like they were going to be the first team to score. And I think Mariners, great goal from Bailey Brantman, cracking goal for his first A-League goal. But Mariners' defense really won them this game. I think Andrew Redmayne is proving to be one of the signings of the season. He has been just incredible. He has been incredible. in all the bar maybe the Sydney game where Mariners lost. In the Newcastle game for the Mariners round 1, in that draw with Wellington round 3, and then this week that the win away to Perth Glory, Andrew Redmayne has been one of the biggest reasons why Mariners have racked up 7 points so far this season. Man, he has been absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I thought Nathan Paul, Lucas Moragas, I mean, that whole back four for Mariners was really strong in this game. And Perth Glory, they continue to struggle. Frenzied says Mariners just seem to surprise a bit this season for me. Yeah, I mean, they're surprising everyone, I think. I think people expected Mariners to have already racked up 7 points. James, I saw this one, like, there's been some reports. There's been lots of reports over the last couple of weeks in regards to potential head coaches linked with Perth Glory. Some names have been floating around in the media. Who have we heard? We've heard Patrick Kisnorbo has been mentioned. Nick Montgomery's been mentioned. And yeah, Graham Arnold. I saw that. Was that today? I saw that was mentioned somewhere. So Graham Arnold, that would be interesting. John Aloisi was the other name that was floating around as well. So some interesting names that are being discussed there for that Perth Glory head coach role. But it like at this point in the season, where we're already a month into the season, how much of an impact is a new coach going to have? Are they going to be able to turn things around at Perth Glory? Hey, going back to Mariners. Cassidy here says the Mariners are very scrappy this season in a good way. They're up for a fight. Yeah. Like it's look, even as a Mariners fan, like the performances haven't been glamorous, but the effort's been there by Central Coast Mariners this season, and I think it's a great boost for Mariners having Brad Tapp back from injury. He's been exceptional already this season as well. Leo Center 23 says Mariners cannot rely on a goalie. So aside from Redmayne, they haven't looked that promising. There's certainly, and for Mariners, there's certainly still a lot of work to do in attack. Against Perth in that first half, especially, Mariners really struggled to get going in attack. So yeah, it's important that the defense is holding on at least. I think Mariners, like as a Mariners fan, defensively, I'm feeling a lot more confident this season than last season. I'll tell you that much. I mean, last season, we were conceding a lot of goals, and in some of the games we've seen this season, maybe last year we would have conceded more goals in some of these games, but Mariners defensively have been really solid. Yeah. Oh, Jacob. How about that? Jacob says, I heard Warren Moon will be appointed head coach of Perth Glory once Mariners find a coach. Is that right? We shall see, hey? We shall see. As a Mariners fan, I love your prediction here, Lightning, who says, I reckon Mariners will make the Final Four. Dude, that would be terrific. That would be tremendous. Blinkers here. G'day, Blinkers, who says Taggart looks so frustrated at Perth, kind of killing whatever chance he had with the Socceroos. Yeah, it's an interesting one for Adam Taggart. I mean, he did win the Golden Boot a couple of years ago at Perth Glory, and I think did they finish bottom that year as well? I think they did, right? Like he won the Golden Boot in a Perth Glory side that really struggled that season. So the goals could come for Adam Taggart this season. The goals could come for Taggart, and if they do, he could certainly put himself in that Socceroos conversation for the World Cup. But yeah, it's he needs the supply. He needs the assists coming in, and they're not quite there. They are not quite there. Hey, Anastasiades, yeah, he's someone who has been sort of the name has been brought up in at least among fans when it comes to talking about potential A-League gigs. Anastasiades did a fantastic job with Heidelberg United this year, still obviously with the club in the Australian Championship. And it'll be interesting to see whether he goes to an A-League club. We shall see. Callum with a strong opinion here says Taggart shouldn't be anywhere near the Socceroos anymore. I feel like, I mean, just as a Socceroos tangent, I feel like for the World Cup next year, I wouldn't mind having just one sort of experienced striker there, even if that is Mitch Duke or Adam Taggart. Who else could you put in that conversation? I feel like I wouldn't mind in a World Cup scenario having an experienced striker. in that squad there. Not that they would be starting. Like, I think Mo Toure will be starting the World Cup, but anyway. So, yeah. As we can see here from the ladder, Perth Glory, bottom of the table, which is a shame. Like, I'm not a Perth Glory fan, but like, I want to see them like do all right. I want to see them do well. And this season, I predicted them to finish top 6 towards the bottom end of the top 6, but I was like, this seems to happen every year now. It's a really concerning pattern that it's developing where they have a decent transfer window. And this past transfer window was maybe Glory's strongest for some time with Caltac and Wooten and Sutton, both Suttons, Sam and Matt Sutton, not related, coming in. Tom Lawrence, who we've only seen appear once so far for Glory. But with the transfer window they had, I was like, okay, this is like promising signs. It's a team that's capable here at Perth Glory, but it seems to happen every year where like the transfer window is like, oh yeah, right, okay, looks pretty good, and then they just like completely fall apart. And it's almost like, yeah, man, Perth Glory fans must just be so frustrated about what's going on here because this club just is continually struggling. Long way to go, and we'll see what happens if they. Surely they'll bring in a head coach before their next game in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, man, very interesting indeed. Lightning says Brian Caltac has been so bad for the Glory so far. Yeah, I mean, defensively they've struggled, haven't they? Defensively they have struggled. Blinkist all says here, going back to the Mariners, says, any thoughts on Edmondson going to the bench for the Mariners? I thought he was doing okay, just hadn't got the goal yet. I think it was the right call. Yeah, that was one big change for the Mariners this past weekend in that 1-0 win over Perth. Ryan Edmondson, who did start the first 3 games, was on the bench for this match with Nico Duarte starting up top. Yeah, I think Ryan Edmondson is a good striker. I think he's got potential to be a really top A-League striker. He just needs that goal, man. He struggled with injuries last season, but we remember he was the hero at the 2024 A-League Men's Grand Final for the Mariners. So he just needs that goal to maybe just sort of really kickstart things for him. Yeah. All right, so we are talking about all these matches from round 4. Really appreciate you guys joining us for this live round reaction. We're talking all things A-League Men's. We're going through the games one at a time. We've talked about the 2 Friday games. And next up, we are about to dive into the 2 Derby games on Saturday. It was a 2-1 win for Auckland, a 2-0 win for Melbourne City. Goodness me, there's a lot to talk about here. I did put a video out earlier today, diving in a little bit more into that New Zealand derby and the current state of that derby and how Auckland are really dominating things. But yeah, man. So, A-League X here with a question. It says, what do you think of the victory striker situation? I mean, it's sort of similar to maybe what I was saying with Ryan in regards to Ryan Edmondson and Mariners. Maybe Nikos Virgos just needs a goal to give him that confidence. I think Virgos is a decent striker. But yeah, sometimes he goes missing in games. And maybe that's not necessarily Nikos Virgos' fault. He scored a handful of goals last season. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure on him. Now with Bruno Fornaroli no longer at the club, pressure on him and also Jing Reese to come off the bench and have an impact. Yeah, because they need the goals. I haven't quite found it yet. Alrighty, Lightning says, I think the Mariners need to sign an experienced striker such as Duke Barello. Would love Mitch Duke back at the Mariners where he started his A-League career. I did hear that, Cody. Yeah, I saw on the socials Wellington shared that. Giancarlo Italiano apparently buying 100 tickets and gave them away in the city. Yeah, there was like a video up online. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was great. Blinkers also says here, Virgos is underwhelming in my opinion. And A-League X says, I would give Reese a go. And I love this from A-League X, who says Mata will get 20 assists if they have a good striker. Well, just for the A-League, I mean, that would be great to have one Mata, racking up numbers like that. Hey. So let's talk about these 2 matches, the 2 derby matches. I want to talk about the New Zealand derby first of all. Auckland FC 2, Wellington Phoenix 1. What do you guys make of this game? Auckland FC are completely dominating the New Zealand derby. It's a fact. It's a simple fact. It's not an opinion. 4 New Zealand derbies, 4 wins for Auckland FC. And I said it in a video that I put out on the channel earlier today, diving into this derby a little bit deeper. But It's unacceptable for Wellington Phoenix. Wellington Phoenix cannot accept this. And you know what the intriguing thing is? These two teams meet in like a month's time. The next derby is not that far away, up in Auckland. That's when the second derby is being played. Wellington Phoenix need to respond in that game. That is a huge game for Wellington Phoenix because they have now lost all 4 derbies. And Wellington Phoenix, this club that has been around for almost 2 decades. And Auckland FC have come in, have already won a trophy, and are dominating this derby. Wellington Phoenix need to respond in that next derby, man. Because goodness me, what a match it was, though. As Luke says, New Zealand derby was the best game of the round. I think we could probably all agree with that. Frenzied says Auckland's still the team to beat this season. Do or die season for Auckland, says Cody. Let's talk about those red cards. Lightning says here, Lightning in the live chat here, thanks for joining us once again, mate, says dodgy calls around the red cards. Okay, what do you guys make of the red cards? So the first one, Corbin Piper's through on goal for Wellington. Dan Hall's running back, makes contact with him. I think there's enough contact. I think we probably all agree there's a foul there. But Francis de Vries is sort of running alongside him. Is that first red card or a red? Yes or no? I think it is, and the reason why I do think it is because when the contact begins, when the foul's initiated, Corbin Piper kind of is the last man. I should say Dan Hall's the last defender there, and then Francis de Vries, and the contact sort of goes for a while, and by the time Corbin Piper goes down, Francis de Vries is like in line with Dan Hall. But if you look at where the foul starts, Dan Hall certainly looks, at least from the camera angle, looks to be the last man. I think it is a red card. My initial viewing, I was like, nah, Francis de Vries is right there. I don't think he's through on goal. But I think on the second viewing, I was like, yeah, red. Blinker says 100% reds. Dawn says red seemed fair to me as a neutral watcher. Jacob says only reason de Vries got close was because of the initial contact. G'day, Peter. Thanks for joining us here as well. And Jeff says the red cards were 100% legit. Tay also says red. Lightning also raises the point here saying that the first should be a yellow because the Knicks player was also pulling Hall's shirt. And the second shouldn't even be a card. I think for me, the second is definitely a red. I don't know about you guys. What do you make of the second red card? The Logan Rogerson challenge. I mean, the studs are up and it's high and it's with force. So even the thing is, like, even if you do make some contact with the ball, if you're going with studs, even if you make contact with the ball, if you're going with studs and you're hitting the other player high up on the leg, it's surely has to be a red card. I feel like the second one is definitely a red. Luke says, I think Dan Hall was a valid red. Logan Rogerson was a yellow bordering on a red. I mean, maybe I need to look back at it again, but the replays that I saw, I remember watching it and just, it looked like the studs were up and it was high, man. So I don't know. Jeff also says second card was silly, but red over the ball. Dawn also says definite red. And football time, 1, 2, 3, says studs at the ankle, always a red. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So it was certainly a big talking point. Well, two big talking points in this game. Blinker says the Knicks were missing some decent players. I think they'll get better. Yeah, look, I mean, Wellington Phoenix, we should mention they've got a real injury crisis on their hands right now. Ishiga's out for the season with an ACL, which is devastating. Devastating for him, man. Mandrick James out at the moment, who's a key defender for them. Who else is also out? Paolo Retre is unavailable. Nikola Miljuznic. Tim Payne is out with injury at the moment as well. So they're missing some key personnel there, Wellington Phoenix. But yeah, man, I mean, their high line got exposed. That's been one of the big things of these opening 4 rounds. This style of play that Wellington Phoenix are implementing, where they play a really high line, and Auckland FC exposed it in 30 seconds. 30 seconds into this game. De Vries over the top, Randall's in behind. Cosgrove is completely unmarked, chilling in the box. 1-0 Auckland FC. Great goal from Afenia Eze to equalise. Fantastic strike. I think Eze has actually been really impressive in the opening rounds. His first couple of games in the A-League. But then almost an identical goal for Auckland's second goal. Randall in behind, who had a great game, and Cosgrove tapping it in just about as well. That's right. Yeah, Jeff says, how about Eze's banger? Great goal. Great goal indeed. Cody says Eze is a baller. He's been very impressive. And dude, I'll tell you what, I mean, it was a great goal on the weekend that Eze scored. But don't forget about the goal that Efenia Eze scored against Perth Glory round 1. Beautiful control and around the goalkeeper, and the finish was great. So he's looked good, man. He's looked good. Yeah, Luke, it's a good point. Who asks, will there be a faster goal this season? I don't think so. I mean, if Wellington keep playing this high line, maybe there will be if other teams can replicate what Auckland did, getting the ball and sending it over the top quickly like that. But yeah, man, it's a crazy style of play that Wellington Phoenix are implementing. It has worked. It has worked a little bit this season, but against Auckland, it did come undone a little bit. Really appreciate you guys joining us for this live round recap. We'll be live for another half an hour here. We're talking about all these games one by one. We'll be talking about the Melbourne Derby in just a moment. Also looking at the ladder in regards to the two New Zealand teams. Auckland FC top of the ladder already. Is this going to be another season where Auckland FC are just cruising at the top? 3 wins, 1 draw. They've only scored 5. But that's sort of Auckland FC for you. They don't necessarily score a whole bunch of goals. And they've only conceded 2. They've only conceded 2 goals across 4 games. Auckland FC defensively, very, very solid. Very solid. Luke asks, any news on Brimmer's injury? Not that I'm aware of. As Cody says here as well, if you're versing Welly, just shoot from the kickoff. That's right, eh? That's right. And we should have, of course, acknowledge, good resilience to hold them with 9 men. Yeah, I mean, just incredible for Auckland FC to show, they showed such resilience with just 9 players on the field for that last 10, 15 minutes to hold on there. But Wellington Phoenix, they'll be disappointed that they weren't able to make that breakthrough and find that second equaliser. Jeff says, I like Wellington's high line. The forward players need to press quicker. Yeah, it's a risky system. It needs to be implemented. It needs to be executed really, really well. You can't sort of slack off playing this system, eh? Yeah. So, Auckland FC cruising on top of the table after that New Zealand Derby win. Football time 123. Thanks for joining us today, mate. Another good question coming in says, what's your opinion on the international break? Yes, I like watching Australia play, but I miss the A-League over that time. I don't mind it. I do miss the A-League, of course. Yeah, I do. I think we can all agree we miss domestic football over that time. But I think what eases a bit is that we've got the Australian Championship going on at the moment. So the Australian Championship, the final round of the group stages this weekend. Also, the A-League Women's is underway. That's continuing this weekend as well. So there's still a bit of domestic football to sort of keep us occupied, and of course, always a big deal when the national teams play. Of course, very excited to watch the Socceroos to take on Venezuela on Saturday, Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Comment here on Auckland FC's goalkeeper here from Luke says Michael Vowd has impressed me this season as well. Good replacement for Pawson and shows why he was one of the first signings. He's been good. He's been very solid. Came up with some good saves in this game as well. Hey, Michael Vowd. So that was one of the big concerns around Auckland. I mean, in the transfer window, they hadn't had many sort of comings and goings, a couple here and there, but with Alex Paulson departing, people were thinking that maybe Auckland were going to slip down a little bit, but Michael Vowd's been impressive. Troy's joining us here. G'day, Troy. Good to see you here, mate. So we're going to dive into that Melbourne Derby in just a second. We've got some good questions and comments coming in here. Aligex asks, next manager after Stajic to be sacked might be MacArthur. If Stajic is sacked, if he is, he might be all right. I think Milos Djosky's all right. I think we'll see how MacArthur go in the Asian Champions League too. In terms of other head coaches might be under pressure. I mean, we're about to talk about that Melbourne Derby, but maybe Arthur Dillis if Victory don't start finding some more wins. So, yeah. So, let's talk about that Melbourne Derby, folks. Have a look at the round results from this past weekend. Melbourne victory 0, Melbourne City 2. It was the way I look at it is it was like a really professional performance from Melbourne City. Man, they were just so effective going forward. They didn't necessarily create like a ton of chances, but they were just hard to stop breaking forward, man. And Melbourne victory, they had the chances. They racked up a lot of shots on goal. And Juan was looking dangerous, but they were unable to break down this stubborn Melbourne City defense. Incredible. And as Blinker says here, Beach was immense. We did a live watch along for this game in the weekend. Thanks to everyone who joined us on Saturday for the live watch along. And I was blown away. I was freaking out when Patrick Beach made that save in the second half. That it was Matt Grimaldi, I'm pretty sure, who made that shot, cutting in on the left, right boot, just sent a powerful shot that looked like it was absolutely spearing into the top of the goal. And Patrick Beach just like leans back and goes like Matrix style, just like fingertips it over the crossbar. Unbelievable save. And it's really exciting because I think we're witnessing the next sort of breakout goalkeeper star in Australian football. Patrick Beach is he was very, very good last season. And he's had a great week because a huge Melbourne derby to keep the clean sheet. Socceroos call up, but he had a fantastic game in the Champions League elite win during the week as well. Last week, that win away to Machida Zelvia, Patrick Beach with some huge saves in that game as well. So this guy is just looking so good at the moment. Jeff says City look very organized. Yeah, man. Like they're so well drilled. Aurelio Vidmar, so much credit has to go to him, Melbourne City head coach, because we were talking a little bit earlier about Wellington Phoenix's injury crisis. You know which club does have a bigger injury crisis than Wellington Phoenix? It's Melbourne City. And it was a similar situation last season. They had so many players out last season. And right now, they are without, for this game, they were without Matt Leckie, Aziz Bayic. Nathaniel Atkinson went off injured after 15 minutes. Elbasan Rashani's out at the moment. Lawrence Wong is out. Alessandro Lapane. Who else is out? They've got so many guys. Samuel Soprian, like key players. Like basically half their first team is missing. But City are so well organized where whoever comes in, and more often than not, it's these young, inexperienced players. They know exactly their roles and they execute them to perfection. I mean, look at Bessian Kutleshi, 16 years of age, started at right back, had a great game at just 16. And he's very new to A-League football. He was at Western United last year, but really getting some game time now at Melbourne City, and I thought he was great. But 16 years of age. Peter Antonio coming into this game really early on to replace the injured Natty Atkinson, and he had a great game scoring that second goal. So Melbourne City, man, it's like whoever comes in, they know the role that they're playing, and they do it so well. A lot of credit has to go to Kai Trillin. He's been unbelievable this season, Kai Trillin. He played two different roles in this game as well. He played at centre back in the first half and in centre mid basically in the second half, and he was great as well. Yeah, football time 123 also asks, "What do you feel about Beach and his call up to the Socceroos?" Yeah, I'm cool with it. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people sort of talking about it. It was a bit harsh that Gauci has to drop out, but Beach is in unreal form, and he's a future Socceroos goalkeeper, like potential future starting Socceroos goalkeeper. So. Yeah, I could honestly see him being like the next Matty Ryan, Yeah. Lightning goes one step further. Says, hear me out. Beach is the next Schwarzer. Big call. Big call. Schreiber has been good, says Leia Center 23. Yep, he was good in this game. Started in midfields. Yep, like just about every City player had a good game. Troy says Beach has been playing where Gauci isn't. I think Gauci's been getting like a little bit of game time at Port Vale, but yeah, like League One, Port Vale, Patrick Beach, A-League. Like, I mean, whether we can have that discussion in regards to like League One in England and A-League and, what's better or not. But yeah, man, I think you just look at Patrick Beach and, I think it'll be valuable experience for Patrick Beach as well being in the Socceroos camp. Jeff, I'm glad you said this. I agree. Jeff says, I think Mata had his best game in the A-League. Yeah, and like last week, he was good against Perth as well. Yeah, like we should say that. Juan Mata, it's great. It's just great. Like from a neutral point of view for the A-League as a whole, it's great to see Juan Mata finally like playing regular football and playing in a position that he actually likes. That number 10 role, that attacking midfield role. And yeah, as Jeff says here, Mata was everywhere. Yeah, he was like so involved. And he played a big part in this game, and he was trying so hard to get victory back to this game. I remember in the first half, he had a great effort that just sailed wide of the goal. He had a shot himself, and it's great to see him, playing a key role here for Melbourne Victory. Yeah. Yep. Troy also says Mata was fantastic, set the bar. I think he was Victory's best player. He was. So it's great to see him doing well, man. It really, really is. Yep. So, I mean, the thing now for Melbourne Victory, though, after this result, let's look at the ladder. This ladder graphic here coming from Google. Melbourne Victory are 9th after 4 games. Victory have 1 win, 1 draw, and 2 losses. They've only scored 4 goals in 4 games and conceded 7. And of course, a couple of weeks ago, just had that big 5-2 loss away to Newcastle Jets. So, Melbourne Victory. How are you guys feeling about Melbourne Victory? Honest question. How are you guys feeling about Melbourne Victory? Because I think they still will be all right. But considering the squad they have, they're underwhelming a little bit this season. Look, they have struggled with injuries. No Valupale at the moment, no Piscopo. Dorigo's still hasn't been involved in the A-League for them. Miranda's only just returned from injury. So still, a few players out there for Melbourne Victory. But look, with Matza starting, John Rowe, Valadon, like that midfield combination, Valadon, John Rowe, Matza, Grimaldi, Santos in those wide positions. They've got a good team, don't they? So they should be higher than what they are for me, hey? They really should be. Thanks for tuning in, Lightning. Appreciate it, mate. Clint asks, do you think City will drop off like you predicted them to? No, I don't think so. No, they're proving me wrong. Yeah, I can't see City dropping off. They're playing too well, and they're showing us that they are capable of juggling the Asian Champions League Elite and A-League. They're doing a great job. Yeah, for them to get a huge away win, they put in a lot of effort, a lot of defensive effort and concentration required in the Asian Champions League Elite last week to win 2-1 away to Machida Zelvia. Huge 3 points away for City in that competition. And then to back it up a few days later in a Melbourne derby and get a 2-0 win there, that City have proved to us that they are capable of juggling both competitions. And for that reason, yeah, I think they could well be a top 2. Like, honestly, Auckland are up there. Sydney are in second place, but I think Auckland and City were the top 2 last season. At this rate, it wouldn't surprise me if those are the top 2. I know it's early rounds, but yeah, man. Yeah. Going back to Victory here. A bit of concerns around them maybe in the early rounds. Layson 23 says, I think Victory might miss finals, but I hope they make it. They have a decent squad. Here's the thing. If this Victory squad doesn't play finals, I think Arthur Dillis has to go. Yeah. Tell you what, even if Victory, if it ticks around to January, if we enter 2026 and Victory aren't in the top 6, I think there should be some pressure on him even at that point as well. Yeah. Blinker says Miranda hasn't been great for Victory this season. It's an interesting conundrum in defense as well, Victory, because you think of the players they have there. Roderick Miranda, Lockie Jackson, Seb Esposito, Josh Rawlins can play there, and of course Brendan Hamill still to come back from injury. Some like good central defensive options there. A lot of good players there, but defensively they haven't looked all that confident so far. Hey, yeah, very interesting indeed. So we are running through all of the games. This is our round 4 recap, our live reaction. Great to see all you guys joining us here on a Monday evening to discuss it all. Of course, this is the final round before the international break. And then round 5 follows the weekend after. We're going to be talking about the Sunday games in just a moment. Sydney FC 2, Macarthur FC 0, and Brisbane Roar. We'd love to hear from you guys in regards to Brisbane Roar. They picked up a big 3-0 win against Newcastle Jets on Sunday. Arvo. A few more questions and comments flying in here to the live chat. Chawl Pippet asks, what do you think of Adelaide 2 wins 2 losses, but I believe we deserved more from the losses. What's your prediction for the Reds? Yeah, I mean, they're definitely proving me wrong. I predicted them to struggle this year, but yeah, they're looking good. And you're right. The Reds did look good in those losses. They had some really good passages of play in those losses away to Bulls and Auckland. So I think Adelaide might be all right. They put in a good performance against Wanderers, and Jovanovic, Goodwin looking good in attack, and Kikianis has been great so far this season as well. Yeah. Fun question from Frenzied Rabbit. Which venue of all you've been to has the best scran? Great question. Honestly, probably Allianz Stadium. Yeah, Sydney FC. They just have probably the best options. Probably Allianz Stadium. I don't know about you. Feel free to weigh in. Which A-League ground or any ground in Australia that you've been to, I guess. Australia or New Zealand for our New Zealand viewers. Which venue is the best scran? Probably Allianz Stadium. Yeah. Interesting question, though. Cody mentioned Sydney United. Boston also says Allianz is the best. There we go. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about that next game. Let's talk about Sydney FC 2, Macarthur FC 0. Lesson 23 says Macarthur played good until the 70th minute. And to be honest, Macarthur dominated the first half, but lacked attacking quality in the box. Yeah, you summed it up pretty well there, man, for the Bulls. The Bulls were all right in this game. It was looking like a really even contest. And just the way this game panned out in the second half, it reminded me a little bit of that last home game for Sydney FC, where they defeated Mariners 2-0. And in that second half, just scoring 2 goals, just finishing strong there, Sydney FC. And Marcel Tisserand, first goal in the A-League for him. Lovely header. And Patrick Wood with another... Was it Patrick Wood? I'm blanking. No, it was Joe Lolly. Excuse me. It was Joe Lolly. Patrick Wood has been having a good impact in games, but it was Joe Lolly, wasn't it, who scored that second goal for Sydney FC. So, yeah, man. EB Gamer says Sydney FC are cooking. Yeah, that 3 consecutive wins, second in the ladder. I mean, EB Gamer says Sydney FC are cooking in multiple ways. Good scran at Allianz Stadium and cooking on the field as well. Cody here says MacArthur started well, but ultimately with the Bulls, if we don't score in the first half of a game, it's all downhill in the second. Says our last 20 minutes are our worst. I put it down to an aging backline. Yeah, interesting point there, Cody. I think I agree with you. Yeah, it's all about that first half. Bulls need to take a lead. Yeah, because if they don't, they can fade away. We have seen that a bit. Haven't we? Blinkers says Tisserand had his best game in Sky Blue, looking really solid. Now he's settling in. Yep. I agree, Blinkers. He was very solid and obviously scored that goal. Nice header from Marcel Tisserand. That's right. It was Pat Wood who got the assist. It says 3 goals and assists so far and 100 games. That's right. He racked up 100 games for Sydney FC, Patrick Wood. So good to see him making a pretty bright start to this season as a substitute at least. Troy, is scran pizza? Why have I never heard this term before? Yeah, to be honest, I don't even know where the term scran comes from. As far as I'm aware, it just means sort of stadium food, right? Can someone inform us where the word scran comes from? I don't even know. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Cody also says, side note, Leichhardt got me sunburned. Yeah, I was down there a couple of weeks ago to watch the Mariners play Sydney FC, and thankfully that was a nighttime kickoff. But great turnout as well. Worth mentioning. I think it was over 10,000 again for that Sydney FC Macarthur game at Leichhardt Oval, and great to see just that whole hill packed with fans. It's awesome to see. And as we'll talk about in a moment, the Brisbane Jets game, they played that game up at Sunshine Coast, and a strong crowd there in a more regional ground. Hey, I can't say I've had food from Newcastle before. I don't think I've gotten food from Newcastle before. I might have to try next time there's an F3 derby up there. Football Time 123 also highlighting a number of injuries for Perth Glory. Yeah, another team with injury concerns. They've got a very big squad, don't they? Big Blue will be good. Yes, that's coming up next in round 5, indeed. So it is a 2-0 win for Sydney FC over Macarthur. About to wrap up in regards to this one. G'day, Forest fan, who says the Bulls did not take advantage or play that strong wind across the ground well enough, and the Bulls lacked the attacking finish. Yeah, that was probably the disappointing aspect. They were just missing that final finish, weren't they? I mean, they've got quality players there, in Sawyer, and Ji Dong Won came on in the second half, and I really like the looks of Rafael Duran. I think he's looking good, but yeah, just missing the goals at the moment, MacArthur FC. So, again, I've been juggling Asian Champions League 2 football. Yeah. Good crowd for the game indeed, Troy. Good crowd indeed. So, Sydney FC, who we are talking about now, currently sitting second. 3 wins, just for the 1 loss. 9 goals scored and 3 conceded. Very, very impressive indeed. They're a team who, after last season, I didn't have particularly high hopes of Sydney FC, but they're looking good. I thought Paul Okonengsler was very good in this game as well. And even the new signings, Campuzano and Kirsbay, are looking like they're really settling in now. So, yeah, they're having a good impact here for Sydney FC in the early rounds. And on the Bulls and their attacking woes, Cody says Sawyer in the warm-up couldn't put a shot on target. He's a good striker, Harry Sawyer. I do rate him. But yeah, the Bulls, they're currently 8th on the ladder. 1 win, 1 draw, 2 losses. They've only scored 3 goals. That's another concerning aspect as we're talking about here, the Bulls and their struggles going forward. They've only scored 3 goals in the A-League in 4 games. They've conceded 5 goals there, MacArthur FC. So, look, I'm still pretty mid on them. I think they'll be okay this season. I could see them sort of coming good. If they find those goals, they could be a really tough team to beat this season. With Caceres in there, Luke Bratton was all right in this game as well, and some decent defenders there at the back. Philip Curto, one of the best goalkeepers in the competition, but the Bulls just not quite getting the results at the moment as well. Hey. Alrighty. Let's talk about the final game of the round, folks. We're going to be live for just under 10 minutes before we wrap up here for your Monday evening. So let's talk about the final game. It is Brisbane Roar 3, Newcastle Jets 0. The Roar, great win. And defensively, very resolute. A couple of consecutive clean sheets here for the Roar. And it's now, 3 clean sheets in 4 games for the Michael Valkanis era in the A-League here at Brisbane Roar. Great start to the season for Brisbane, man. Great start to the season for Brinkus. Excuse me, I was reading Blinkus here in the live chat. It says, let's go Blinkus, says here, Boston. Good to see you here, Boston, as well. Good stuff for Brisbane, I should say. So in terms of the Roar, they're putting together some decent performances, and the goals are now starting to come for them. 3 goals against Newcastle Jets. And on the flip side, Newcastle, so much hype entering the Jets, surrounding the Jets entering this season after that Australia Cup win. That dramatic loss in the F3 Derby round 1, and then they bounced back with a huge 5-2 victory against Melbourne victory. And then that 2 disappointing losses here. 4-1 loss at home to Sydney, and then 3-0 loss on the road to Raw. So for Jets, all of a sudden it's like, well, what's going on? What's going on? As Leah23 says in the chat here, what are the Jets doing? And as you say as well, yeah, Jets have conceded 12 goals in 4. Newcastle Jets this is something that's plagued them for many years now, is their defensive woes. And they've got to sort it out. They have to sort it out. It's clearly in attack. They've got some quality. But yeah, look at this ladder, man. And as you look down the goals against tally, you can see everyone is in single digits. Perth Glory down the bottom, they have 9 goals conceded. Newcastle Jets have conceded the most goals in the opening 4 rounds, 12. Conceded 12 goals in 4 games. That's an average of 3 goals per game. That's too much. That is too much. That's not gonna get you finals football. So Jets need to fix it up at the back. It's as simple as that. Troy says, I did say bottom for Jets. G'day, John. John says Newcastle had the majority of possession, but only produced 3 shots. For the game, right? It was incredible as well in this match. Newcastle Jets, as you say there, John, just 3 shots. It was just incredible. And I think credit to Brisbane Roar and their defensive structure. They're actually looking really good in defense. And I think Brisbane's two fullbacks, their new signings, Houston Salas and James McGarry, have been exceptional. They've been very, very good in those fullback roles. Milorad Stajic, that defensive midfield role that he plays, he's doing a great job. He's been very, very good. Great new signing for Brisbane as well. So, yeah, man. Forest fan says Brisbane are strong, but have played well so far. Says yet to be tested really against Auckland and Sydney. Going to be inconsistent though. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Can Brisbane maintain this sort of this level, this consistency? We know they did lose away to Wellington a couple weeks back. Couple late goals they conceded there, but overall in their games, like they just look like a really stubborn side. They're a strong side, they're a physical side, but there's quality in that team at Brisbane Roar, and this was a great result for them at home on the Sunshine Coast. As Troy says here as well, good to see this played at Sunshine Coast. Yeah, and great to see a really strong crowd in attendance as well. Yeah, man. Local Knicks fan says Salas coming back to the league was a shock. Yeah, of course, being a Phoenix fan yourself, mate. Says even more shocking. He went to the Raw, but he seems to be loving his football there right now. He's playing very well. He's looked good, hey. He's looked very good. Luke says Raw were very physical, which helps them a lot in their games. Indeed. Great win for Brisbane Roar. 3-0 and maybe some concerns for Newcastle Jets. We're going to wrap up in a few minutes here, folks. Really appreciate you joining us for our Monday live A-League recap. G'day, Chris, who asks, are the Wanderers in deep trouble? Well, it's certainly an underwhelming start for the Wanderers, Like second bottom without a win and with a good team. Like on paper, they've got a good squad. Yeah, there's like it's early round, so I don't think they're necessarily in trouble yet. Like it's not panic stations completely yet. But they need to improve. They have to improve. Obviously, they're going to need to elevate their performances if they want to play finals football this season, because it simply hasn't been good enough. So, yeah, big games coming up for Alan Stajic at Western Sydney Wanderers. All right. If you guys have any more questions or comments, feel free to throw them in right now. We'll have some content coming up throughout the week as well, talking about the Socceroos games coming up. We've got friendlies against Venezuela and Colombia. Very excited for those matches. But always great to talk A-League with you guys. Interesting one. This is sort of another can of worms that we could talk about for a while. But Cody says controversial opinion. But personally, I'm not a fan of teams playing home games away from home. What do you guys make of that? We'd love to get your thoughts on that. That's actually, an interesting talking point. Yeah, I mean, like I remember, like just as a Mariners fan, I remember like a couple of years ago, Mariners used to take a couple of games to Mudgee in regional New South Wales. Yeah, I didn't mind it. Like if it's like one or maybe two games away from home, that's not too bad. Any more than that, I feels like it's probably too much. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's not something that particularly bothers me, but I guess I would prefer, to have all your home games at your home stadium. But yeah, man, it is interesting. It is interesting. What else we're saying here? Luke says, I think the Jets need to play 5 at the back, need to protect the goal better. They played a back 5 last season, didn't they? From memory. At times under Robbie Stanton at times. No worries. Local Knicks fan says, what are your thoughts on how the Knicks are going so far and where do you think they are going? They're doing all right. They've been okay to start the season. As we can see on the ladder here, they are 7th, 1 win, 2 draws, 1 loss. The style of play is very interesting, that high line. But they have looked good in just about most of their games so far this season. Obviously, I think injuries are really affecting them. That's the concerning thing. So it's about trying to successfully implement that unique game plan, that style of play, with even with all the young players that are coming into the squad as well. Hey. Going back to that discussion point in regards to playing away from your own home ground, Forest fan says a regional round would be great to get those home crowds for locals like South Melbourne, Heidelberg, and Preston give. Regional round, that could be interesting. No worries, Boston. Thanks for tuning in. Troy says Eze has been good. Yep, Eze has been good. There's been lots of new signings that have impressed in the opening rounds. That's for sure. And Cody asks, how many years do you think till we start seeing attendances like the 2015 season? Man, it's a tough question. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. There's so many factors. It's obviously such a big topic. All I want to see, all we want to see is like full stadiums, right? I think that's a big thing, and I think that's a big takeaway from this past round. As we saw these games, those Sunday games played at Leichhardt Oval and at up in the Sunshine Coast as well. Those Sunday games, and at that Sydney game, there were 10,000 fans. For the Brisbane game, there was like over 7,000. But because you're playing at smaller grounds, it looks full, and the atmosphere feels better too. Even though it's only 7,000 fans, but 7,000 fans in a 10,000 seater stadium versus 7,000 fans in a 50,000 seater stadium, it's obviously completely different vibe. So yeah, man, yeah. All right, guys, we are going to wrap it up there. Really appreciate you joining us for our A-League Men's round 4 round reaction. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our content here. We're reporting out a few videos talking about some A-League stuff this week, and also Socceroos as well, who are in action this weekend against Venezuela and then Colombia next week. Domestic football doesn't stop, folks. A-League Women's continues this weekend with round 3, the final round of the group stage of the Australian Championship. A-League Men's returns the week after that. Got some big games coming up as well. We've got a big blue in round 5. Round 6, I believe, is the Sydney Derby. So there's huge games basically every single week in the A-League Men's competition. So always great to chat with you guys and check in and see how you're feeling. But there's your first 4 rounds done and dusted. Really appreciate you guys tuning in for our live stream tonight. And have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.